Welcome to the show, guys. Happy Saturday. Got an exciting one here for you. We're talking about crucial players that have to boom this week or they're going to be seeing the bench. Okay, I got 7 of them for you, including a bunch of bonus ones as well. A very important video here. Of course, the latest news and notes as well. Key injuries. This is going to get you guys up to date. And more importantly, drop your question below. I'll try to get to as many as I humanly possibly can. Want to make this ultra interactive. So drop your questions below. Smash it, tap it, slap it, and we're going to be talking about everything to get you guys up to speed here for NFL Week 3. This is a very crucial week and a week that really separates the men from the boys. So it's very important you guys listen, drop your questions, hit the thumbs up, interact here, guys. It's going to be a fun video, okay? Hope you guys are having an outstanding Saturday. Again, if you're new here, this is the only channel giving you the truth. So hit that thumbs up and turn on that notification bell for the latest news and notes as well. Very, very important stuff, okay? Let's talk about the latest news here. A couple injuries, but before I do as well, I forgot to mention, I am offering my sports picks below. I guess the money line and the spread, if you guys are into that. I know a lot of people are into the bets. Counselor's Edge, I've linked it below. If you want guaranteed direct access, join the front lines. But check the pinned comments for my picks of the week. I put a lot of time and effort and research into these picks. So make sure you guys join the Counselor's Edge. As soon as you join, you're going to get an email. You're going to get access to my picks, and I release those every Saturday, guys. And I called it on the spread. I said that, the Jets would cover this weekend. It was in the Counselor's Edge, and people that, listened won, okay? So, yeah, it's going to help you guys get a massive advantage. Counselor's Edge, and I've been doing sports bets for years. Now I'm actually going to be delivering it for you guys and giving you guys a major edge in your bets, okay? So Counselor's Edge, join below. Let's talk about the latest news and notes here. Kenneth Walker has a chance to play. I had an oblique thing. I mean, I don't know, man. This guy, he's always kind of shown his share of injuries. This is why I avoided him this year in fantasy. I'm not really a Kenneth Walker fan. I don't trust him, but chance to play. Addison, who's another guy that, kind of the topic of the show, step up, poop or get off the pot. Addison has a chance to play. His ankle was bothering him. Higgins apparently has a chance to play. Hamstring issue that could linger. I wonder if he's going to be limited. I've got no Higgins stock. A lot of these wide receiver twos were very expensive in drafts, and I faded them. So, I avoided him, but has a chance to play. Other news, George Kittle, doubtful, most likely going to be out. Also hamstring. Deebo Samuel out. Calf issue. Jordan Love, no word on him, on his designation at the time of this recording. I'm recording this Saturday morning. So Jordan Love, obviously having the knee issue. There's a lot of talk about him possibly playing this week. That would be great. Love to see him back, but if not, it is what it is. I mean, give him another week's rest, okay? And Monster is doubtful as well. So again, check your player. What I usually do is I check my player and see, just running it through Google. Hey, is this guy playing? And just kind of check before game time. Also, in the apps that you usually have, it'll tell you there'll be like an injury designation. So make sure you guys start and sit the right people, okay? Very important, all right? So again, let's get to these players here. I got about 7 of them and a bunch of bonus honorable mentions here. They need to step up, okay? And they just haven't done it. And a couple guys I want to, hold myself accountable for are on this list that I drafted that need to step up this week, okay? Very, very important. And again, drop in below the comments below, what's a player for you that you drafted and hasn't performed up to his ADP? There's a lot of players. I mean, it's only 2 weeks, but that's what I'm saying. Like, this week 3 has to be the week where these guys have to step up, okay? So the first player I want to talk about here, again, I've got no stock. I told you to avoid this guy. Sitting at wide receiver 61 is Brandon Ayuk. Okay, this is a guy that was like a diva the entire offseason saying, pay me, pay me, pay me. Went around, flirted with all these teams, flirt here, flirt there. Didn't get what he wanted, finally got paid. Again, I wouldn't have paid this guy at all. I don't think he's that good. Sure enough, the 2 weeks confirmed my suspicions that he's not that good. I mean, what do you have? 4.8 points fantasy week 1, 8.3 week 2. He's getting targeted a little bit, but 2 receptions week 1, 4 receptions week 2. I mean, this is the week, man. Like, Ayuk has got to step up for fantasy owners. He's done nothing, absolutely nothing. I don't want to hear excuses. Like, this guy was drafted in the 3rd round on all teams. Him and Deebo Samuel were coming off 3rd and 4th round. High draft capital, didn't believe in any of them. And even with Deebo out, Ayuk has not been able to step up. So, again, it's like, what's wrong with this guy? I think it's a lack of talent. I think, again, the team's having a Super Bowl hangover. They're dealing with injuries. Jordan Mason, obviously, a must start on this team. But Ayuk, a big-time disappointment. You either boom this week or you're benched. Like, again, I have got no stock, but Again, something to consider and to talk about, have an open discussion, okay? Number 2 here is Zamir White. Great matchup this week. Head coach said he's going to get 20-plus attempts. We're looking at a guy who's sitting 45th amongst running backs, a guy that I said is going to finish top 10. Done nothing. 22 attempts in the 2 games, 68 yards, 3.1 yards per carry. But again, a big part of this problem was, according to the coach, was that offensive line. He says, we got to work on the players up front. Hopefully this is the week that Zamir gets going. It's a great matchup. It's a good way to build his confidence back up and get him back to that, volume that he was getting at the end of last season, which he was outdoing everybody in attempts, all of the running backs. So Zamir White, great situation. Breakout week. This is it, man. It's either you boom or you bench. That's it, Zamir. I'm going to be shedding a tear if I bench Zamir, right? I'm going to be upset, but it's going to be the right decision moving forward in week 4. This is, again, a make or break week for a lot of your players. Again, this is just a list of some players, but you got to make an executive decision with players that are just not performing. Should you get somebody else? Should you go to the waiver wire, okay? What do? You got to make a decision, okay? Next guy here is Jamar Chase. I got to talk about him. He's got a decent matchup versus Washington. 0 touchdowns, sitting as wide receiver 40, 12.2 points week 1, 7.5 week 2. I'm done with excuses. Now, again, this is a big thing with his contract. There was a big thing in the offseason. What's going to happen in this game is a big deciding factor of what you should do with Jamar Chase. Now, you're going to say, well, he's a great talent. I should never bench him. Very well so, and he probably shouldn't. But this is a week to gauge him and see what is he doing. If he puts up a donut, I have a big issue with him being consistent the entire season. Sorry. He's done nothing. Absolutely nothing, sitting at wide receiver 40. Again, 0 touchdowns. This is the week for Jamar Chase to absolutely step up. Pooper, get off the pot. Boomer benched for Jamar Chase. NFL Week 3 fantasy football, microscope monitoring here for Jamar Chase, okay? Next one here is Rachaad White. I told you to avoid this guy. Was never that good. Listen to this. Week 2, 1.8 yards per carry. Week 1, he had 16.6 points week 1, but only 2.1 yards per carry. Bucky Irving didn't do much better last week anyway. You got to watch the situation. You want to monitor the usage with him and Bucky Irving. They are playing Denver. He's sitting as RB29, a guy that was drafted in and around round 3 to 4 as an RB1. A lot of people told you go 0 RB and make sure he's your RB1. Disaster, okay? So again, I've got no stock in Rachaad White. I told you to avoid this guy. Again, just terrible. Terrible numbers on the yards per carry, terrible numbers in fantasy, just a lackluster performance. He's got to do it this week for you guys. So really monitor the Bucky Irving, Rachaad White situation, and he's got to get it going, okay? Another player, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 5 here. We got 7. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. This is number 5, 6, and I'll throw you a bunch of bonuses, okay? Let's go here with Chris Olave. Man, it's been the Rashid Shaheed show. Now, I had Rashid Shaheed on our show, told him I thought he was special. He's been crushing it. Rashid Shaheed, super nice guy, been crushing it. Now, is it going to be going back to Olave this week? I would say you have to start him. He's going against Pittsburgh, relatively tougher defense. They're going to be playing hard. But 3.1 fantasy points week 1. What do they have? 12.8 week 2. 6 targets week 2. 2 week 1. Man, this is it, man. He's got to get it going this week, okay? This was a guy who was drafted in the 2nd round. Now, I avoided him simply because I thought he would be boring. I thought he would be safe, right? And that's sure enough what he's been. He's been boring, but not even safe at this point. So it's definitely a monitor and see situation, because if Rachaad White has another great week, I would say, Rashid Shaheed, I was just looking at Rachaad White's name before. If Rashid Shaheed has another good game, I would probably consider Rashid Shaheed. I wouldn't even consider. I would say that he is definitely going to be the wide receiver 1 on this offense. It's like 3 weeks straight. So another situation where you want to monitor who is going to be the wide receiver 1 in the situation. Is it going to be Olave? Is it going to be Rashid Shaheed? Definitely want to monitor that situation, okay? Next guy here I want to talk about, and then after this guy, I'm going to give you guys some bonuses. So he has wide receiver 75 is Keon Coleman. Now this guy, again, I take full ownership on this guy. I still believe he's the wide receiver 1. I still believe he's the best talented receiver on this team. A lot of people going into this season were saying Curtis Samuel is the one. He's sitting like 120th something amongst wide receivers, okay? Keon Coleman is in a prime position to succeed. I think he's great talent. I think he's elite talent. And I think he's going to absolutely do well in this game. Now, this is, again, a make or break week. Do I start him? Again, I've got better options to start, but I'm still considering start. I got 7 leagues. I still might start him in a couple leagues, kind of diverse my portfolio here, but this is it for Keon Coleman. He's got to step up. He's got to do it. He's the best wide receiver on this team and probably in the league. If he just gets going, he just needs targets. You can't expect him to do well with 0 targets. Now, you can make an argument that he's not gaining separation, and that's very well possible. He had Ramsey blanketing him last week, but I think this has to be the week for Keon Coleman. Week 1 was okay. He had like 10 points, 9 or 10 points. He's getting targeted. Allen has to throw the ball. Now, he just wasn't throwing the ball. A very uncharacteristic game for Josh Allen, and this is the week that's really going to set the tone for the future of the season and the future of Keon Coleman. He's got to step up. Him and Zamir White, 2 guys. I might start them both this week. I'm going to ride or roll with those guys, okay? A couple other honorable mentions. We talked about Ayuk already. We talked about him. Addison, we talked about as well. He's got to step up. Doing ridiculous. He's sitting at wide receiver 93. Injuries have been plaguing him. But a couple honorable mentions that got to step up this week. Tank Dell, wide receiver 70. Kind of knew this going in that it was going to be wide receiver roulette. Take a look at Nico Collins' injury designation. He was a little banged up, but I think it was a hip or something, but double check that. Nico has been performing. I mean, like I said, one of these guys could boom and has been going to Nico. Seems to be the one. We're going to see what happens in week 3. It's going to be a telling tale. But wide receiver 70 is where Dell's sitting on the rankings right now, is where he, sitting on the rankings on fantasy points. Terrible. Amari Cooper, wide receiver 83. Terrible. Michael Pittman, wide receiver 63. Again, the big problem with him was, do I trust Anthony Richardson? And I don't. He was a top 5 quarterback, sitting number 9 amongst quarterbacks in fantasy points after 2 weeks. Heading into week 3, definitely going to be monitoring the situation with Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce, another wide receiver 2, who's been stepping up, targeted, similar to Rashid Shaheed on the Saints. Alec Pierce, I picked him up off waiver wire, going to be monitoring, could end up being the one there. It's just somebody that the quarterback gravitates to. So Anthony Richardson hasn't been performing well. Fantasy okay, but just not feeding his receivers the way we want. Now, Pittman had 8 targets, week 1, 7 targets week 2, with 7.1 and 5.1 points, unacceptable for a wide receiver 1 in fantasy. So he's another honorable mention, okay? But these guys have to step up. The Pittmans, the Coopers, the Dells, right? The Ayuks, the Zamir White, Jamar Chase, Rashad Whites, Chris Olave, Keon Coleman. These guys have to step up this week. Definitely going to be monitoring all these situations very, very closely, okay? Make sure you guys do join the Counselor's Edge. I've linked it below for all my picks. Smash it, tap it, slap it, and hit the thumbs up and drop your question below. I'll try to get to as many possibly as you can. And I hope you guys have an outstanding Saturday. Week 3 is here. I'm over the moon excited, okay, guys? Hit the thumbs up, turn on the bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video, and I'll see you in the Counselor's Edge below.